Have you ever been victimized by New Age spirituality?
We've been waiting for you. We've been waiting.
You're going to want to listen up.
I'm Megan, an intuitive life coach and Reiki master.
I'm Ryan, a professional astrologer, and we want to show you what spirituality is by talking about what it is not.
Con artist.
Yes.
Snake oil salesman.
There are so many susceptible people out there.
And then they're tainted. They're ruined. They don't want to come back to spirituality.
We still have a lot to learn, and we will humble ourselves and learn, I think, every freaking day. This is Clairannoyance,
a podcast of spiritual interference. So Ryan, we took a class this past weekend, and we both had a wildly different experience. Would you like to tell everybody what we did?
We took a breathwork class, which I've always wanted to do, but never got around to. You know, it's just like one of those things. It's like, I don't know.
Well, and I don't know if you remember, but I had taken a breathwork class about a decade ago, but it was when I was in that pseudo cult and with people who were not trained whatsoever. And that lady then, we're clawing up. Everyone was clawed to the max. And then all of a sudden this woman, elderly woman, jumped up and took her clothes off and started running around the room saying she was this wild free woman. And that was my one and done experience with this class up until what we just did. So to say that I had a two drastically different experiences would be an understatement.
I can't imagine that. I'm very glad I did it in the comfort of my own home.
Yeah, ditto. It was a visual. So needless to say, there are a lot of charlatans in this arena, but our guest is not. Kind sir, please introduce yourself. Who are you? What are you about? Let's get into it, because Ryan and I are both obsessed.
My name's Jon Paul Crimi. I'm a breathwork teacher. I've been teaching breathwork for over a decade, and then I also teach other people how to teach it, how to lead it as well. And in that decade of doing it, I've never had anyone jump up and take their clothes off. Well, let me just get that clear right now. I've never had that happen. I have seen some weird stuff, but nothing that extreme. And I probably, because I keep such a good control or I keep a safe container in the class. And I'm also pretty clear about what makes people have tetany, this thing when your hands cramp up, which you were talking about.
Yes.
When I first started breath work, and I was a personal trainer, and I wanted to know what caused this tetany. And the answers that I got were such nonsense. It was like, it's the moon, it's the stars, it's unicorns, it's, and you're detoxing off weed. I'm like, I haven't smoked weed in like 20 years. It's not weed, And so I brought in a health and science researcher from Harvard, and because I had a theory about what caused the tetany. And my theory was it was people pushing too hard. It was people exhaling too hard and too fast, because that was the commonality that I would see in these sold out classes that I was doing. And she discovered that I was correct on that theory, that when you push too hard, it throws off more CO2 and it causes tetany. So I developed a way to try and combat that a little bit by telling people to relax on the exhale, to not push as hard. And guess what? If it can still happen, tetany can still happen, but you can close your mouth and breathe through your nose and kind of pull back on it anytime. You're in control of your experience, which is something I added to the breath work. I wasn't hearing any other teacher do that out there. Because especially when you're at home doing this thing. So if you tweak out at home, if your hands get tweaked out at home, it can really freak you out.
Yeah, when you said raise your claw, I've been laughing. Like, if you're in class, raise your claw.
Yeah, it can get pretty wild. Tetany is you're not going to die. You're not having a stroke. It's not that big of a deal, but it freaks people out. They're not expecting all these big experiences from breath work. They're not expecting all this physical stuff to happen in their body from breath work. Most people think that they're just going to have this relaxing meditation experience. And it's not. It's this other intense thing, especially with me, because I'm a former personal trainer and I'm like coaching you, like, let's go. You've done harder shit in your life than lay on the floor and breathe. Let's go. So I like push it pretty hard, because I want people to break through.
No, you do a great job of, it is not relaxing. And so when I was doing my due diligence, like I'm looking up your name, looking at podcasts, and the first podcast that I came across was do the fucking work. And I was like, this is it. This is the one. And it sounded, I think it was Den Meditations. And I listened to both of those episodes twice because they were just so good. Your story.
Thank you.
I think it's just so relatable. I'm an addict as well in recovery. And so, I mean, briefly, let's touch on that because you are the antithesis of, you know, you're anti-woo. You're kind of woo, but like
Like you are kind of woo, but
I know someone made me a shirt that says I'm not woo woo, but you know, like it's the problem is I don't think I'm woo woo, but like I've seen some things that are unexplainable. Like, and so I can't fucking explain them. So that's the problem for me. Like I want to find the science behind it, and hopefully they do find the science behind it. And I'm looking for it, and more is coming out all the time. But until we find the science behind it, I'm like, here's this crazy thing that can happen, and I can't explain it right now. So, yeah, I'm sober 23 years. I found this breathwork thing about a decade ago, a little over a decade, and it was life-changing. And I was embarrassed. I didn't even, because it was really woo-woo when I found it. Like the class that I do is not the classes that I originally went to. Like I changed the music. I changed what I say in the beginning. I added the moments. I tried to make it like for me, the class that I want to take, right? Which is someone from the East Coast who's super angry and wants to punch people in the face every day. And I'm not that guy anymore, but I was when I found it. And, what happened was my clients and people around me started going like, what, are you medicated all of a sudden? Like, why are you so happy and calm and like present?
delightful.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm doing this weird breathing thing, and it, you know, it's kind of changing my life. And they're like, what is it? Show me. And I'm like, I don't know. So I started doing it on my clients, and I watched them have these experiences. And if you can change someone in one session, like why would I want to do anything else? Why do I want to sit there and count, you know, numbers for weights? I was a personal trainer, but I was also a celebrity sober coach for a long time, for 17 years. So I worked with all the big name, a lot of everyone you've heard that has a problem with drugs and alcohol, that's a musician or an actor. And then a lot of people you don't know about that were smart enough to get help before it went into the news. So I worked with all those people, and so I found this thing, and it people noticed the change in me, and I noticed the change in how I felt. And so I just started doing it every day. And then I got pulled into it, and I didn't want to do it at first. You know, when someone asked me to do a class, and I was like, I've never taught a class before. And I did a class, and it had about, 10 guys in it. And, Matthew Perry from Friends is a friend of mine. And he came and he was like, this is your thing. This is what you're supposed to be doing. I'm like, I want my own TV show. I don't want to be the breathwork guy. Like, I don't, and he's like, no, this is your gift. And then like, I think it was 5 years later, I was doing this huge sold out class with like 200 people, and Matthew was there. He's like, I told you this was your thing, like, so sometimes we fight it. A calling. I had a teacher who was like, this is your calling. People are calling you to do this for them.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
That's what a fucking calling looks like when people are emailing you and calling you. That's a calling. And I was like, oh, I never thought of it that way. Like, yeah, I wanted something else, but sometimes we have to give up our dreams to follow our destiny.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And people can oftentimes see our gifts and talents, like other people that are close to us instead of ourselves. And that's what it sounds like, the gifts that Matthew Perry gave you.
That's the gift your publicist gave me when I became an astrologer. She was the one that literally, dead serious, was like, you just need to start charging for this, Ryan. Like, just start doing it.
We don't see it in ourselves sometimes. It's hard, we're so focused on this other thing that we think is who we're supposed to be. And the universe might have a completely different plan for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it suits me well because my personality, unfortunately, at its core is selfish and self-centered. And I have to combat against that all the time. And to combat against that, the best thing to do is to help other people. And so I'm my best self when I'm helping other people, when I'm getting out of myself, when I'm doing this breath work. I'll tell people all the time, people be like, you're a breath work teacher? I'm like, I know I might seem like a real asshole in this moment, but if you come to this class, you'll see that I'm this great guy in this thing that I do.
I think that's what makes you authentic, though, and what actually makes you likable. The type of like energy or vibe you give off is people are either going to be immediately gravitating towards you or they're going to be like, fuck this guy. Like you're not an in-betweener, like
yeah,
it's
nor do I want to
to.
be. You can't be true to yourself. You can't be real and true and honest to yourself and authentic and have everybody like you. You have to fucking decide. What do you want? Who do you want to be for? Because if you're trying to be for everybody, then you are for nobody. You are not for yourself at all. You can't, I just can't be honest and authentic. And I learned that it wasn't intentional. I just decided if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it from my way. Like it's the only way I can do it. Cause I was trying to be this breathwork guy and I was like, this doesn't feel right. I feel disingenuous. I feel weird. And I started teaching at the studio in LA and I would have to take the 101 to the 405 to the 10 to get there and then almost kill somebody in the parking lot over a space. And then I'd come in and be like, I just took all these horrible freeways and just almost choked somebody out in the parking lot. But if you sit your fucking ass down, I'll put gratitude and love in your heart, And they're like, who's this guy?
So your method, let's talk about that. And then we can get into Ryan and I's experience. Like what,
Great.
Yeah, everyone knows how to breathe, obviously.
Yeah, right.
So everyone's snorting oxygen. But what separates you or what is your method? What is your technique? Because it is different than box breathing or,
yes.
The snorting. If you snort,
yeah.
Can you tell what my drug of choice was?
No idea. I didn't like cocaine. I just like the smell of it. So.
Yeah, exactly. Favorite an old time. But it was shocking, like to breathe through your mouth. I was like, oh, this is different from all the research that because mouth breathing is getting a real bad rap.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Well, so breathwork is an umbrella term, right? It's like saying fitness. I do fitness. You'd be like, well, fitness. You do what? Soul cycle? What do you CrossFit? What do you do? Right. So because there's box breathing, there's all these different types. So the specific type that I teach is circular breathwork or conscious connected breathing. And it is done through the mouth. And now everybody's going, wait, I read a book called Breathe and you're supposed to breathe through the nose. And that, yes, 99% of the time you should be breathing through the nose. That is the best way to breathe. You don't want to be mouth breathing, but some specific intentional mouth breathing for a specific purpose, which is circular breath work, to clear out all your shit, your stress, your anxiety, your depression, your generational trauma, to clear that shit out of your nervous system is totally worth it. Totally fucking worth it. And guess what? Now I'm going to be breathing into my diaphragm because I wasn't breathing into my diaphragm when I first walked into breath work, into circular breath work. I was breathing shallow. I was breathing in my chest. Mm-hmm. And why was that? Because I was a personal trainer and I've been keeping my abs tight for 20 years. And also all my emotions are right down here. And I don't want to feel those emotions that I've been pushing down for a long time. And when I start to breathe into my mouth, down into my diaphragm, those emotions start to come up. Mm-hmm. And I start to feel them. So most people don't even realize they're walking around holding their breath, breathing shallow all the time.
They have no clue. It's like, when's the last time you took a deep breath? And then you'll see people do the chest. It's like, no, your diaphragm. They're like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, exactly. So we're making the unconscious conscious. Most people are unconsciously breathing, which is great, but we can also consciously breathe. So now we're going to do this exercise where we breathe through the mouth for the specific purpose, and it's going to have some incredible results. And now you're going to start to go, wait, am I breathing through my mouth or am I breathing through my nose? And then, I'll tell people to mouth tape when they sleep if they have any issues. My wife mouth tapes, and it's been a game changer for her because she would snore and then not sleep well and wake up grumpy. But ever since she's been mouth taping, it's like a different person in the morning. Mm-hmm. So mouth taping at night for a lot of people is really incredibly helpful and life-changing. Mm-hmm. So I'm a big component of breathing through the nose. There are different purposes, different reasons for, different techniques and different things, right? But yeah, you should be breathing through the nose most of the time, except when you do this technique that will change your life.
Yeah.
Is it always the 2 inhales, 1 exhale?
No, you can switch it up, but I'm just trying to simplify it for new people, right? I'm trying to make it super easy for the brand new people. You can breathe into all your little fucking chakras and all the there's different ways to do it. You can get all kinds of woo-woo and weird out there if you want to. But, just to simplify it for new people coming through the door, it's hard for them to breathe into their belly and breathe into their chest, right? And you're really even being intentional about that. They don't even know where they're breathing.
Mm-hmm.
But the belly is the grounding breath and the chest is the transformational breath.
The whole setup, so people think you tell everyone to lie down and not with that, like not with a pillow underneath. And so you might think like, oh, it's going to be relaxing. No, I mean, and the music selection there was from Coldplay to Peter Gabriel.
Oh
I mean,
God.
it was all over the place. And throughout it, you're coaching. It's like you're the cheerleader where you're like, you can get it, like go harder, or the coach deeper.
It was kind of like Soul Cycle vibes, a little, but it's like a journey too. I don't know. By the end, man.
Yeah, well, I needed someone, because here's the deal. Your head doesn't want you to do this, right? Your brain is fighting you, especially the first 3 or 4 songs. And it's going, I don't like it. It's weird. It's uncomfortable. Nothing's happening. This is stupid. Why? And that's why I'm there going, you're fine. If you're dizzy, it'll pass. Push through. You've done harder shit in your life than lay on the floor and breathe. I'm coaching you through because that's what I need. I need someone to coach me through when I do it. So I'm doing that. And then the second half of the breathing portion, I'm kind of saying the emotional stuff. There's a lot, everything has a purpose behind it. I'm saying the emotional stuff because people are holding on and they're like, and then I say something like, everybody wants somebody to show up and love them for who they are, the way they are, but we don't love ourselves for who we are, the way we are. You teach people how to love you. You show people how to love you by how you love yourself. And how you love yourself is how you show up and do the hard work.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be, so transformational. I'm in Charleston, South Carolina, and the South is typically is behind, and so we're dealing with a lot of I have guy friends my age, my husband's friends, and there's just this like they're all in this spot where you can see it. And so when I took this, I was like, this is it. Because you might not, I'm a Reiki master, I'm a personal trainer, I'm an accountability coach. I was like, you might not believe in any of this. That's fine. But you believe in breathing. And so so I was like, this is something that, we can have a container with. Like this is the missing piece that I've been looking for in regards to helping men.
Yeah.
Because the ability to speak on what's going on within it's not here right now, and it's killing people.
Yeah, the most common statement after my classes is, holy shit, that felt like 20 years of therapy without having to say a word. And what usually happens is, people line up afterwards. This is in an in-person class, and they give me a hug and they go, my husband or my boyfriend would never do this, but I'm going to make him do it with you because you're a guy and he'll listen, he'll do it. So the next class I see the husband or the boyfriend sitting there like, I cannot believe she dragged me to this shit. And I'm like, that's my dude. I'm going to crack that fucking guy open. Right. And I'm like right on that person and I'm speaking to that guy and the intention is powerful. And sure enough, like cracking open, because a lot of, unfortunately, men, especially past generations, were taught to like not cry, to be tough, to walk it off. Right. And that's such bullshit. And it's such bullshit. It's, we're supposed to cry. We're supposed to have these emotions. Otherwise, we wouldn't fucking do it. And it's so necessary for us. It's so important. We need to have that release. And so usually what happens is the guy comes up to me after the end of the class and he's like, hey, man, can I give you a hug? And like gives me a hug and starts crying on me in the lobby because there's still all this emotion coming up. Because it's like, that's what I felt. I had like all this stuff just stuffed down inside of me that I was able to like release and let go of.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's you don't have to believe it's going to work. You just have to do it because the results are immediate and they're undeniable. And that's what I love about it.
Yeah, I loved the story about I think you were like, didn't want to call him a gangbanger, but he was gang affiliated. And how he came up and was like, yo, man, can I talk to you? Like, I think I saw God. And it was, that's powerful.
Yeah.
For a fella like that who's seen God knows what, to have that sort of experience. And so I can't wait. Ryan and I talked before and I was like, every Sunday you're going to see us. When's the next one? Let's coordinate. Because it was absolutely incredible, phenomenal. And so we'll put everything in the show notes in regards to like how you can take the class. And it's affordable, guys. It's like $29.
Oh my God, it's affordable.
It's 19 your first time. It's 19. It's even cheaper. So
that's so affordable. Y'all spend more at the bar. We're getting dinner at Chick-fil-A.
Well, you have to do something different, right? If you want something different in your life, if you want to change, if you want to create a shift, you have to try something different because you're doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. You've heard that before. But so I didn't want to go to a breathwork class. I thought it was a fucking stupid idea. I was like, what? I'm going to pay someone to breathe, and that's what people say. But like 2 different people said it to me. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm supposed to do this. I'm smart enough to know that if I keep hearing something or two people tell me this. So I went and did it. And the class was woo-woo and it was new agey. And I was like, oh, what is this fresh hell that I've walked into? And it wasn't me at all. But like I laid down and I did the breathing, and that experience was undeniable. And so I may not be for you. I may not be your style or whatever, but go and try it. Try it and see what happens and see what's there for you. You have nothing to lose. It's like, and everything to gain. And I've watched thousands of people change their lives with this work over and over and over. So it's not just me. I'm seeing the changes in front of me. I'm seeing, and my students who come to my trainings, I watch them transform. I have these in-person trainings. They're 4 days long. And I watch over the 4 days, people come in one way and they leave a completely different way 4 days later. And that is like a giant, it's so great to just be a part of that, to watch that journey.
Well, especially with what's going on with mental health. I mean, I have so many friends right now. They're like the conversations around depression and anxiety. It's like, but I grew up okay. I have no reason to be sad. And so with generational trauma and the science that's come out behind it, that if your mom or generations before you have some sort of
yeah.
Like, so to be able to clear that out, and with this simple practice, it's mind blowing.
Yeah, my joke around that is like, trauma is proven is passed on through the DNA, right? Science has proven that trauma is passed on through the DNA. And so you thought you were screwed up because of your parents, and you were right. It is their fault. It is your parents' fault, but it's their parents and their parents and their parents. And so, yeah, you don't know why you have anxiety. You don't know why you have depression, right? You're like, I had a great childhood, but I feel this way. And so it can be generational trauma. It can also be diet. It can be that you've got your face in the screen and you're comparing your insides to other people's outsides all the time, looking on Instagram. It can be a lot of different things. And so doing this work will really get you centered within yourself. And most people are walking around up in their heads all day long and overthinking everything. And what did I say that? And I'm so stupid and this, and they're beating themselves up all the time, right? And what this does is it kind of turns off that horrible critic that a lot of us have and moves you into your heart, which is a whole different way to operate. And so that's what I needed, because I was so hard on myself all the time, beating myself up over stupid little things. And this work has enabled me to stop being so hard on myself and stop criticizing myself so much. And now I feel like I can model that for my kids. I was watching my son be so hard on himself this morning, just about drawing. He's just drawing something and he was like all upset. And I just picked him up and held him, and I was like, it's okay. Stop being so hard on yourself. Like, yeah. And so modeling that is really important too. But I have to live it. I have to actually stop being hard on myself, because I don't want my kids to be hard on themselves.
Well, and when looking through, I think it's Brene Brown who says, like if you look through the lens of everyone's doing their best,
yes,
then, you're able to then step away from that spot of judgment. But we have very similar energy. I'm like, this is your fucking best.
It's so funny that you say that. I say that all the time. I'm like, everyone's doing their best, but really, this is your best? Your best sucks. Your best sucks right now.
Like, step it up. I see your potential, and this ain't it, partner. Like, let's roll.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like some people are doing their best all the time.
But then again, I'm the asshole. Like, who am I to judge? So, so I'm not the one who's going to hold your hand. I'm the one that's going to push you to the best of your ability. So that's why I think I so enjoyed, because I was like, yes, we started this podcast because we hated snake oil salesmen and charlatans, and people come to spirituality or to breath work or to some sort of practice because they're lost, they're broken, they want something, and so they get into the arms of a fraud, and then it turns them off from it forever, and that's not what we want. So
yeah, I'm not a cult leader. I try to make that really clear with people. They're like, I love all your stuff. I'm going to be. And I'm like, no. You come do the stuff and then go help somebody else or find it. Like, I'm not trying to start a cult here. I'm not the woo-woo guy. Like, I just, I want to help people. I want to empower people, and maybe empower people to help other people even better, right? It's like a pyramid scheme for good. But like, I don't want to have my thumb on you. I'm not going to control you. I don't want any part of that, and I'll keep guiding people. I have these Zoom Q&As with my students who go through my trainings, and like they come to those to be continually supported. But it's not what I'm trying to build. That's not what I want to do. I don't want that at all. I'm the anti-woo-woo guy. I'm the guy that would never do this kind of work. And here I am. I'm doing it. And so I think that works for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why it appeals to a lot of people.
I hope so. God. I mean, it's literally, I think, like what sold us on you. Like, I remember before we even launched the podcast, breathwork was one of the episode ideas listed. And it's just like, it was so deprioritized.
Well, then when I told him about my first experience, I'm like, I don't know. We got to find someone legit because I'm not reaching out to those folks.
Yeah, and the view of it is totally woo-woo. I mean, I'm in LA, so it's like everything here is freaking woo-woo, and like, God, no, I don't want it. This is totally up my alley, though. But it can be. I can see how it can be woo-woo, and I had these woo-woo experiences doing it.
Yeah, and woo-woo is what some people want, which is great. Like, if that's what you want, great. I'm not your guy. Like, I've had people come to my classes who are like, I had this other breathwork teacher who had been teaching it for like 2 or 3 years, and she started in the chat box like, "You're talking too much. It's too loud. I don't like it." And I'm like, you can fucking leave now. Like leave. Like, I'm not your guy. I don't. We're not collaborating here. Get the fuck out of here. I don't care. I don't. And like, who are you to come and tell me how I'm supposed to do my class?
My shit. Yeah. Bye.
Yeah. Like.
Ryan, so since we had such, so I am a psycho. I'm up at 3:34 every morning. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do it in the morning, set the tone for my day. And I'm 3 hours ahead. So I texted him like, holy shit. And then he later that day was like, holy shit. So Ryan, let's start off with your experience. What was it like?
Wild. I'll spare a lot of the details, but like had a terrible morning. And like awful. I was already crying. I've been in a space like I'm crying like every day at this point. Just whatever. Then, had to do it. Honestly, didn't want to. I did want to. I just kept pushing off. Thank God for the recording, like I just kept not wanting to do it. For some reason. And then especially that morning, I just didn't want and then I went through the whole intro. Loved it. Great explanations of everything. Totally like gave me a good idea of what to expect. It was spot on. And then, you started like with the music, and it was like a very like meditative type of thing. I straight up slammed my laptop. I was like, nope, not right now. Not gonna do it. No. I like walked around. I put it off, man. And then came back a couple hours later, was like, you gotta do it. This is gonna expire, right?
Which is brilliant too, because then you have to do it. So it was like, all right, so, we have 72 hours. It is 3 on Wednesday. You better get it done.
Yeah,
I know. And now that I waited until the last day, honestly, like I was like, dang it, because I want to redo it. Now I gotta do it another way. Yeah. But yeah, I was like, I don't know, you settle into it. First 5 minutes, you're fighting it. I feel like 10 minutes in, found my rhythm. And you take me on, like I'm a former musician, so I just liked the music, and then those last 2 songs, Coldplay, Fix You, and then Landslide, like Jesus Christ, man.
Landslide gets everybody. I always say, like, nobody makes it through. If you don't cry during Landslide at the end of the breathwork, you're dead inside. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
I can't help you.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And like, so I was definitely like crying by the end. And then like that, it had the whole, like, I don't even I forget what you call it, but the hand thing for sure, which I didn't mind. Why did I weirdly think that was kind of cool? I was kind of like, thank God I don't have to like go write something, because I quite literally cannot move my hands right now. But I just laid there for 30 minutes straight up, totally uncontrollable sobbing. Like I would like try and be like, can I just like, okay, I'm done now, right? Like, no, it just kept going. So cathartic though. Not like sad crying. I was so beyond grateful. The amount of like, I think a woo-woo person would call it a download. I hate that. But no, just the insights that I got. And like, especially because I had like done so much research prior, that I had so many questions I already knew I wanted to ask you. So many things just kind of clicked for me. I think like I mean, I've had so many weird things since then. I just keep making like weird connections. The coolest thing for me, whatever, it's just like, everybody's got different experience, was I'm trying to explain it. And I was explaining it to somebody who doesn't like any of this shit at all. And he's going to take this class now. Um, I was trying to explain like the sensation, the feeling, because like you get tingles, you get goosebumps. This was different. I felt like I was like radiating. I literally feel like like every atom and molecule in my body just like got like more air between them. Everything is energy, right? We're just like like molecules and things like slammed together, right? I just literally felt like I like started kind of like merging with the air around me almost, like not out of body. It was still there, but just felt more, I don't know, like particle-y.
And connected to everything, right?
Yeah, oh, for sure. And in that, it was funny because, and this is what I'm curious about, like experimenting with now, moving forward with this, is you would say certain lines, like everybody deals with heartbreak, everybody, but you don't need to carry that around, right? You could say that to me right now and I'd be like, yeah, sure, cool, whatever. In that space though, where I'm there's more room between my molecules. I don't know. These words, like I felt like they sink in a very different way. That was this immediate release for me. There was this suggestibility factor to it almost, where it was like almost like a command, and then like my consciousness or something was just like yes, and then it was like like gone. I felt incredible after. I really was in such a funk after amazing day afterward. Like at this point, I'm worried I'm going to talk it up too much and overinflate it, and I need to like manage my expectation there with other people.
No way. No
No,
way.
because I'll talk it up to death and then people will still come and have that huge experience that you just described. But what you were describing there, how you would, so like if I said that same thing to you now, you'd be like, yeah, whatever. That's because you have the logical thinking defenses of your mind going, yeah, that's fine. No, I hear what you're saying. But when you're doing the breath work and I say something like that, it gets past that and it goes right to your heart.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're open, we're vulnerable. It kind of gets past that, the defenses of the mind. It goes right to your heart, to the vulnerability center.
Totally.
That's one of the beautiful things of the breath work is like we turn off that logical mind, we turn down our defenses, and we move into our heart. And that's such a beautiful place to be, to operate from, and to make decisions from. I have had so many people who came to me with like, I don't know what to do about this relationship. I don't know what to do about my career. And I'm like, great, let's sit down and breathe and see what the breathing brings, what answer the breathing brings. And what happens is we turn off that mind and we go into our heart, and our heart's like, they're not the person for me. Right. And then like, it's really clear, right? But then what happens, here's what happens later. The mind turns back on and it starts to go, the fear kicks in and it goes, well, I don't want to get back on Bumble. I don't want to get back on these dating apps. And it starts to kick in.
Negotiation. Yeah.
Yeah. And so what I tell people is lay down and breathe again and get out of your fear and get back into your heart, which knows the right path for you, which knows the right choice for you. And when you start doing that all the time, you're operating from there, you're making your choices from there. And that's a much more powerful place to live from. That's a much more authentic, like that's the place to live from. Not that our mind isn't great, and we can't use it for amazing things, but like for these big decisions, for these important decisions, we want to operate from our heart.
100%.
Well, and the mind's designed to keep you safe. Your brain's never going to have you jump out of a plane or take a risk. It's designed to keep you alive.
Yeah, it doesn't give a shit about your happiness. Your brain doesn't care if you're happy or not.
Yeah, it'll limit you. I felt like incredibly authentic after that, for sure. Like knew very, very clearly like everything I needed to do that day. I felt motivated and like I won't even get into it. I made all these changes yesterday, for sure. What I'm like really interested, the most woo thing for me now is almost that like just the way that those almost like commands or the things you were saying could sink in so much, and just like an intention, that I set beforehand and be thinking about it while doing it as well a little bit. I know you said not to think about it, but my brain, whatever. I could see like just this like woo idea of manifesting. Hate it. Like it's just like, I'm a Gemini, I'm an overthinker, whatever. Like I can't. My brain's gonna warp it all the damn time. That, like, I'm like that. There's something there. If like I want something, I think I can like be in that space and then be like using my brain in a more powerful way to quote unquote create your reality, whatever. I don't know how it works, right? But like that for me, I'm like, oh no, I know exactly. Like I just feel like there's like this immediate manifestation ability almost. I'm not like I'm gonna immediately manifest $1 million in my bank account, but I'll feel more prosperous or whatever. And I like your classes are set up that way, right? You got all these different themes, basically. I think that is a brilliant thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've used it for the last decade in that very way that you're describing right here. I need more money and I need a vacation and I don't know how those go together, right? And like I lay down and breathe and then I get a phone call. I'll be like, can you take this guy to Hawaii and show him how to have a good time sober? And I was like, fuck yeah, and we'll pay you $2,000 a day or whatever. But like that there are other things too. Like I would lay down and breathe and be like, and this thing you were talking about downloads, right? I don't know if it's a download, but a message would come in like you need to take the workshops that you're doing, because I was doing all these workshops in LA. I was doing the transformational letter workshop and I was doing the affirmations workshop and all these different workshops. You need to take those workshops and put them together and create a course, and it's called the 5-day emotional detox. And I was like, oh my God. So I'd get up and I just like, okay, let me write this down. So I did. I didn't know if anybody was going to be into it or not. And I had a guy come over and film it. And I'm like, here's the exercise, the transformational letter, which is probably one of the most powerful things I do. You write these 2 letters. You write a letter to somebody saying everything you need to say, everything you've never been able to say to them. Well, I've heard that before. Wait, but now you write a letter back from that person saying everything you want them to say, everything they're never fucking going to say, everything if you have to wait for them to say, we're screwed. You write the letter back from them. Now it's all in the surface. Now you lay down and do the breath work and it heals that relationship. So it's really powerful. So I combined all these different exercises with breath work and I created a course called the 5-day emotional detox. And I didn't know if anybody was going to be into it, but people started doing it all over the world and emailing me these incredible stories. And I would just read these emails and just get, holy fuck, like, this is amazing. Like, I had no idea if it was going to work for people or not. I know it worked for me. I didn't know if it was going to translate into a course online or if it was, I had no idea, but I just did it because that was what, the kind of the message that I got.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, and that's
amazing.
passion. Is that God speaking to you? Is that intuition, universe, spirit? Who knows? But whatever it is, when something like that strikes, you better listen. I mean, because you have this window, like you have a window and opportunity to take it before your mind talks you out of it, before there's something called not collective bias, but where essentially ideas are kind of gifted all around the world. And science was able to prove this because all these labs were doing similar experiments, but none of them were in communication.
Multiple discovery.
Yes. And so to be able, like you have this opportunity, if you have that feeling, that thought process, and it's not your bullshit, it's not your mind squawking, take it, like just like how when you get sober, you were saying you have that window of opportunity where you have your rock bottom, or your perceived rock bottom. Yeah. And then if you don't take it, if you're not like, I got a problem, like I need to make a choice, then your brain starts to be like, it's not that bad.
Yeah. Oh, that was just bad luck. That cop and that thing and that situation, it was all just bad luck. And dude, you're overreacting with this AA thing or this whatever, this recovery, And so, yeah, you have a window of opportunity to jump through. Like if you're listening to this podcast and you're like, I should try this breathwork thing. Like that's your window of opportunity right there. Mm-hmm. Come and try the class. And if you go like, nah, later, if you wait too long, then your brain goes like, nah, I don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. And you were saying that, Ryan, like, oh, I don't want to do that. You kept putting it off, but you needed to do it before the deadline, right? So that was the window of opportunity, was that 72-hour window, right? You have to do it in this window. And it's amazing to me that some people, they're like led right there and they're still not ready for the change. It's pretty rare, but it exists. Like they just staying in the same miserable state is safer for them and better for them than actually just shifting out of it and changing.
Yeah. I totally. And for me, I was like, no, I don't want this anymore. Though I just think it was being in that space. It was like, it's not going to do anything, like it's really not going to do anything. I'm sure I'll feel more relaxed or whatever, but like, you don't really, you just got to fucking do it, like you'd say. But like, yeah, like it really, you won't know until you try it. And then I think once everybody just tries it, they'll figure out like how it's going to work best for them. But good God.
Well, That's what I love about it. The more like cynical or doubtful or more you're like, nah, this isn't going to do anything for me. Like kind of the bigger the unexpected opening or the bigger, it's just like it creates this thing. If you're like going there expecting this big thing to happen, like maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. But if you go there like, this is fucking stupid, those are the people who have the biggest releases a lot of the time, where like it's totally unexpected.
Well, and they don't have the expectation. I think that a lot of people go in with huge expectations, and then sometimes you can be which is what I love about this, because you can go in with a big expectation and it will be fulfilled. You can go in with zero expectation. You will be fulfilled. And that is so rare when people with expectations. So to be able to have this space where that's possible is amazing. Now I had quite a different experience.
Yeah. What?
Ryan.
You're angry? Like, I'm like, but obviously in like some sort of joyful way. Like, what's going on with you?
So I'm like ready. I'm stoked. I'm like, all right. Like I'm up early, like no one can hear me. I'm ready to scream. I'm ready to do the jam. So, you're explaining everything. I'm laughing about raise your claw. I had like a notepad next to me so I could like immediately remember after, like if anything transformational happened. Body tingles, following along, loving the coaching. And nothing really happened through. Like, I'm like, all right, I'm feeling good. Like, I'm feeling great. Like, this is going to be a great day. I'm like, all right, no. And then all of a sudden, I just started to get pissed. And there was not like and anger is a secondary emotion. So, like, and that's kind of my go-to with things. So I'm like, all right, like, what's up? And then a little frustration. It ends. I'm sitting there. And I also, simultaneously, I'm having, I wrote immense gratitude, peace, supercharged, like aroused was the word. Like I was just like, like, yes, like I'm ready. Yeah. And then anger. I mean, it was these like parallel, passion and anger, and, they run a parallel course. But I was like, all right, just observing, not judging. And I'm so glad that you said, don't text anyone. Like, don't text anyone from your past. Don't text your ex. Because I was ready. Like, then all of a sudden it was like disgust. And I was like, oh, I don't really live in a land where I experience disgust. So I was like, and I was ready then, like, I'm going to give this motherfucker the business. And I like had like, I was like, who, like, what motherfuckers are you giving business to? Like, simmer down. So the whole day I would go to like react. And I'm pretty good at not, and then I catch myself. And so, but there was a disconnect. So I'm like, what is this? So I'm like ruminating to like, it was uncomfortable. And I've put myself in uncomfortable situations. So I'm used to it. But I wasn't in a bad mood. I wasn't in a good mood. I'm naturally a pretty, giggly, high energy person. I was just, it was just ornery. I had this spot. So I go through and I listen to, I'm like, well, maybe let me listen to this podcast that you were on again with your buddy, because I really like that. And this is your quote on shame. There is nothing out there that you have done that makes you unworthy of your own love. And I was like, oh, I've been starving. I've been given and not receiving on a level. And then it was like the disgust was gone. Yeah. And I was like, all right. Right when you think you're like, oh, I've been doing good. Like I'm in a pause. I don't need to really do any work anymore. I was like, no.
Yeah. There's a lot. I hear that a lot with people who come to the breathwork and like, I've done all the work. I've done all the therapy. I've done all the 12-step. I've done it all. And then they're like, I go, great, let's breathe. And then afterwards they're like, holy shit, there's so much here. It's completely unexpected because you've done all the work intellectually.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
You've done all the work up in your head, but you haven't done the work in your cells and your body and your nervous system. Like you don't realize that a lot of this stuff is still living in the tissues. And maybe you don't want to feel, I don't want to put this on you, but maybe you don't want to feel the disgust. Maybe you don't want to feel the shame or the thing or whatever. And so a lot of people who have done the work are living in what's, I hate this term, but I'm going to use it, spiritual bypassing, right? They're not allowing that feeling to come up of like, I have shame around this issue, or I have this anger towards this person still. I still have this anger because I've done all the work. I don't want to have this anger towards this person anymore inside of me. I'm a spiritual, I'm this, I'm that. They have this image of themselves that they want to be, that they want to project. But the truth is that somewhere in that nervous system is some anger. And then, like you said, anger is a secondary emotion. I always say anger is the mask that sadness wears. And so I feel anger. Anger is the easiest emotion for me. I can anger all day long. But the truth is it's usually sadness about what I don't, I'm sad that this didn't work out. I'm sad that I'm not friends with this person anymore. I'm sad that I'm angry this person fucked me over. But the truth is I'm really sad because I really wanted them to be a mentee, or I wanted it to work out, and it broke my heart that they screwed me over. It hurt my feelings that they would rather be greedy and selfish, or whatever the thing is, right? And it's hard to get to that emotion. It's hard to get through those layers to get to the truth and to the sadness. And then, but the thing is, if I can allow the sadness to come up, and if I can allow it to feel, if I can feel the sadness, that's what just needs to happen. That's all it needs to happen. I need to feel it to heal it, right? I need to allow it to heal it. And then I can go, oh, okay, yeah, that made me sad. Like, I'm not angry at that person anymore. It's much easier for me to carry the anger around. I don't want to carry it around.
That is like the interesting thing, because I am all for like feel the feeling. I feel very, very much crying Ryan, like literally, like I feel, and like that I think is the issue, because it's like until breathwork, you'd feel it, and then like the spiritually, all you ever hear is now release it, just release the emotion. You're feeling the feeling, so then you're like, okay, what universe, now get rid of that emotion, please, like get it out of there, like I've done the visualization stuff, like imagine it turning into like a fog or a black gunk and it just seeps into the earth. No, it's still in the body. I'm feeling it, but then what am I doing to get rid of it? And it's like, some people will just like hardcore workout, right? Like kickboxing or whatever, and they get it out that way.
What do I do? I'm training for a show right now, my second competition, and the mind replays what the heart needs to heal. And I'm like, but I don't, and it was just like, oh, I'm open. I don't want to open up this wound again. And the day before I had run into my best friend, we're former best friend, at a party, 20-year, somewhat of a contentious relationship. We had on and off again breaks. I knew she was going to be there. Like, I reached out, and you see this person that you love so dearly. I was like, oh, I'm fine. Like, I saw her. I love her. It was good to catch up. Ta-ta. In my mind, I was like, oh, we're so good. Like, it was so good to see her. We're good. And then that morning I do the breath work, and she wasn't even the one that I was like wanting to give the business to, because I thought I had made peace with it. It was just like, I just realized how much I have been giving unnecessarily to people who, don't deserve it right now. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to do it. And then the other part of me was like, don't be a little bitch. Like, so then I get like really irate with myself. I thought I'd been uncomfortable, but really I'd only been uncomfortable physically. But then I realized I've been tricking myself. Time to sign up, coach. I'm ready to do the work.
I was a trainer for 20 years. I was a trainer in Gold's Gym in Venice, California, the mecca of narcissists, right? Like, I was in there for 15 years. And it's like hard to be the smallest trainer in Gold's Gym, Venice, and I'd go to the bathroom and someone would try and steal my client. It was crazy. And it was just mayhem. But like, I was all about the outsides for most of my life. I was an actor and trying to be a fitness model. And then I got alopecia and I lost my hair, right? And that was such a lesson for me. And like, whoa, wherever I put my self-esteem and self-worth, what if that's taken away, right? If that's taken away, if my self-esteem and self-worth is in my looks, if my self-esteem and self-worth is in my career or my marriage or whatever, and that's stripped away, then who am I? So it forced me on this internal journey, because I was ready to kill myself. And it forced me on this internal journey to like, go like, well, who am I? Like, what is this all about? And it took me on that journey. And so the reason I bring that up is because there's this, whatever you want to call it, mind, body, spirit, the triangle of health, I like to call it.
Mhm.
And so many of us are just working on like one corner of that triangle, which for me for 20 years or 30 years was just the outside. Like I got to look good.
Mhm.
But the breath work is an inside job, right? And so happiness, a lot of times, well, happiness is going to come and go like wind in the cloudy skies, but purpose and fulfillment. The breath work really works on that inside stuff. And so I always say purpose and fulfillment is what I strive for, because I'm not going to be happy all the time. And so what am I going to do when I'm not happy? Well, I have purpose. I have fulfillment in my life. And so that's what I try to go to. And the breath work has just given me that thing. It's that internal workout. You get getting under the squat rack and working out. It's the same thing to lay down and breathe. Okay, lay down and breathe and do your internal workout. Do the workout for your heart, for your soul, for your emotions. It's uncomfortable, just like getting in the fucking gym is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. And then afterwards, you feel amazing. It's the same thing.
I call myself a pragmatic energy healer. So, like my goal is to help people become the best version of themselves through movement and mindset. So I was like, exactly what you preach to other people on what not to do.
Yeah.
What's up, kettle, pot, black?
But that happens to all of us. We don't realize the mind is so insidious. It doesn't you don't even realize that's happening. You didn't know you were doing that, but
Correct.
The mind its job is to protect you. So it creates this story in your head like, oh, you've done the work. You're good. Like you don't need to go there. And then something happens and you're like, oh shit, like I could just react out in the world. And then now I feel shame. I feel embarrassed because I reacted at something that happened at the taco stand the other day. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, dude. What are you doing? You're the breathwork guy. Like you can't act like that.
Mm-hmm. And that was the underlying thing too, was the shame, where I was like, ooh, disgust. Because it was like, disgust is an interesting feeling, and not trying to like label it. But then it was like the shame piece. And it was like, you know better. You should have been on this, and so, but the best piece, if you're in that emotional state, do not be texting people the business. Like, wait until you calm down. I heard a quote the other day that was like, you will never regret silence. And for my hotheads, I mean, it's been transformational. I'll type stuff out to people and then be like, all right, let me take a step back. And then later that day, I'm like, thank God I did not say that.
Where's that voice come from? You know better. Is that your mother or your father?
That's a good question.
You know what I mean? Like, where does that originate in you? And that's the like sort of place to dig into for you. Like, oh yeah, who's that shaming voice? Where did that start? Where did I first hear that shame? It may be maybe neither of them, but like I see my daughter.
It was both of them. It was both, where it was just like and parents do the best job they can with the tools they have, but it was like, like you're smart, better. You're like, what are you doing? You're like, better. And it was like, I do. That's such a good point too.
Well, I see my daughter melt down sometimes. She's 10 and she's like, oh, you're so stupid. And I'm such an idiot. I'm like, where are you getting that from? Like, I'm not saying that to you. Your mother's not saying that. Where does that come from? Is that something, and this is woo-woo, like, is that something that's like been in your soul for fucking generations, like reincarnation? So is that what we need to heal here in this journey? Right? Like that's woo-woo, right? But I've just seen so many things. So like, I don't know, but like, and I can't heal it for her as much as I want to, all I can do is just tell her, like, try to love yourself. Please stop being so hard on yourself. Try to love yourself. It's heartbreaking for me to watch.
Oh, it's apparent.
Heartbreaking. And I've said this for years, like I can help total strangers through the fucking internet. And sometimes I can't help the people that I love the most, that are the closest to me.
Yeah, that's the
painful
part. Yeah, especially your kid,
Yeah.
And I am is a direct command to your subconscious. So anytime you say I am, you are directly programming. So I used to be very self-deprecating. I will not now, because like if you say I'm a loser, I'm worthless, then your brain will focus on it. It's like, all right, well, let me filter out all the things and show you that you are indeed a loser. Let me confirm this opinion about yourself.
Totally. And yeah, that's what I say. Like, you feel stupid right now. You are, don't say I am stupid. You feel, I feel stupid in this moment. There's a big shift. There's a big difference. It's exactly what you're talking about. It's like, you don't want to say I am this, I am that, right? Unless it's something positive, unless it's something good. It's something you want. But it's really hard to sometimes to help people. Like, you just have to, what I learned with her is I have to hold the space for her. And sometimes it's just sitting there with her, scratching her back, telling her I love her, telling her how amazing she is, and just holding the space and letting her express herself and letting her feelings be heard, you know? And as a guy, as a father, I want to fix it. I want to fix it. I can't, you know, and it's not about fixing it. It's just about being present and holding this person and telling them that I love them, and that, you know, that's it. That's all you can do.
And holding space is such an interesting term, because that's been a woo term as well, where it's like, but have fun. Like, it's like everyone, you hold space for people differently. And so I'm a problem solver. So I've had to be like, do you want me, Ryan, would you like me to listen? Or do you want, you know, or do you want me to solve this? Yeah. And so, because I'm like, oh, I see it. I see the problem. If you do this, if you do this, if you do this, problem solved. And it's like, no, bitch, that's not what I need. I need you to shut the hell up.
Right.
Like, let me vent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I read a book called The Whole Brain Child that was really powerful for me. And what happens when a kid has a meltdown is they're in their lizard brain. They're not, you can't, so they're not, you can't reason with them. There's no logic there in that moment. And I think that happens to adults too. Like, a meltdown where I'm in my lizard brain and I'm just like, I want to break things. I want to throw things and flip out. My wife tells the story of, like, I wrote this email. I was so angry. And she's like, don't send that email. And I looked at her and I was like, send, you know? And it's just like, you can't reason with me.
Bite me, oh miter.
Yeah. And so, you know, that's what's going on. And so the book basically said, like, just like having them know that you're there for them, that you're like, you're sitting there with them in that moment, in that pocket. And a lot of people can't do that. They can't hang in that pocket because it's uncomfortable. I'm a trained interventionist, and I don't do interventions anymore. I haven't done them in a really, really long time, but I was in an intervention once, and you know, the whole family's around the room and everybody's crying, and this person's sharing the thing, and someone in the family got up and gave that person a tissue who was sharing, who was crying. And the interventionist, I was like observing, the interventionist was like, sit down. That tissue's for you. It's not for them. It's for you. You're uncomfortable with their emotions. You're uncomfortable because when you give them the tissue, it interrupts that, right? It's sending an unconscious message saying, I'm not comfortable with your tears right now. I'm not comfortable with your emotions. And so that's why therapists are supposed to just have them on the table, and they don't hand them to you. They're just there on the table for you to choose. But if you give them the tissue, it kind of interrupts it and says, I'm not comfortable with this right now. The interventionist was like, sit down, that tissue's for you. It's not for them. And like, I was just like, oh shit. Like, I tell my students that in my trainings, I'm like, don't go over and give somebody a tissue while they're bawling during breath work. You're interrupting their process. Let them bawl.
They think they're just being like supportive, kind.
Yeah.
They could probably got offended by it. But then when you sit back and think about it, it's like, well.
Yeah. Let them cry. You can put the tissues out for them to choose and them to grab. There was a time that I used to say, does anybody need a tissue? You know, and people raise their hand, but I don't even do that anymore. I just have boxes all over the room and people can get them if they need them, you know? And so, you know, what's wrong with snots running down your face? Like, let it happen.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Let it be messy. Stop trying to be so clean and neat all the time. Let this healing process be messy. Who gives a fuck? Mm-hmm. You know, like, that's what I say. Stop trying to look a certain way. Stop trying to be so perfect and clean and neat all the time. Who gives a shit? Like, let it happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that's what's so cool about this work is, I mean, it blew both of our minds. I mean, I can't wait to dive. I've been like emailing people. I'm like, you gotta, I mean, it's gonna sell out. I don't know how many are allowed in the Zoomy class, but the next one is anxiety and depression, and it's 10 days. So if you are listening, what's the date today? July 6th, 7th? Yeah. You know, like the one on Yeah, it's July 6th.
The one on the 16th is a special 10-day. Usually there's a 72-hour replay, but that one has a 10-day replay because I'm in Denver doing the training. So, I'm in this training, and then the next training will be in Bend, Oregon in November. And then I also have the trainings online. They're recorded and you can do them at your own pace in your own time online if you can't come in person. So a lot of people do those as well because that just works better for them.
Their energy is infectious though. I think if that's the only opportunity that they have though, but I think that being like in that space, in that container with people on a similar yet very different journey, and then to have you being like, get your shit together, let's roll,
I'm pulling you through some shit in that training. There's some shit that goes down in that training that people are like, wait, we're gonna do this out loud. I'm like, oh yeah, get up on your feet, let's go, and so I have there's some really powerful stuff in there, and you really learn how to take people through sessions and lead classes and stuff like that. I give you a script to read, like that whole bit at the beginning of my class. I have a 1-page script written out, and I have people start reading that on the first day of the training with their partner, and then by the fourth day, there's 4 days, you have that down. Like you can put the script down, and you're like, breathwork doesn't have to be your thing. You don't have to love breathwork, but if you can come and have an open mind, you may have an experience which you have it down. And so you leave there really confident on how to take people through sessions and how to lead classes. And I make damn sure of that before you leave. That's my objective. That's my purpose. So it's awesome.
I'm curious about what you think about all these assholes online who are like, I can breathe. Let me release. If you breathe like this, there's some DMT, where they clearly have no training because there's no, I imagine there's no governing body that certifies, the breathers of the world.
Yeah. It's been a painful fucking part of the journey. Let me tell you, like,
same in what we do. Like we're very familiar with that. Like anybody can pretend to be an expert in anything.
Yeah. People will email me and be like, I've never done breath work before, but if I do your training, can I then lead my own training? And I'm like, wait a second, you want to skip actually taking people through sessions, actually leading classes. You just want to lead the trainings without ever having done the fucking work. Like, I can't even wrap my brain around that. And what is that about? That's about ego. They want to be the guy leading the training or the girl leading the training or the person leading the training, or they think that that's where the money is or whatever. It's just like, that kind of drives me nuts. And then also, there's a lot of people that steal from me. They just literally copy my stuff verbatim. And then they go, I created this training arc. I created this thing. And like, I catch people all the time, or people lie and say they did my training and haven't actually done it. I've caught people doing that a bunch of times. And so, yeah, there's a lot of frauds out there. One of the frauds that used to bother me is like, oh, I have 20 years of experience in doing this. And like, you look at I like dig deep and like, well, no, you were a hula hoop instructor for the last 19 years. You just started this a year ago. So you're lying, you're exaggerating or tweaking it, but people are just straight out lying now. And it's a bummer for me. And then I'm in the middle too, because there are breathwork teachers who taught this before me, who've been doing it for 40 years, who will go, you can't teach this in 4 days. This takes a year. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. It takes 4 days. Like I can lead people successfully and they can come away confident and know how to, safely take people through sessions in 4 days. No, it takes a year because I want people to go through my training for a year. Right?
Oh God, I hate that.
So there's the people on the other side who think I shouldn't be doing this in 4 days. And so I'm like, I don't know, it's really tricky out there. And people have great marketing and great websites and advertising who are lying their ass off. And that's really unfortunate. And so I always tell people, like, if you're going to do my training, do one of my classes online first. Like, you need to experience it. I may not be your teacher. I may not be right for you. Or I might be the guy that you're like, fuck yeah, that's my guy. Great. But you need to experience it. I've had people come to my trainings who've never done a class with me before. And they think I'm going to be this like mellow woo woo guy. And I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. I literally told you to do the class before you came. And so if you're fucking not happy with this, that's on you because you didn't follow direction. right?
And I think it's so funny because it's like if you want the woo woo, you can find spirituality in anything. So like accept this as a spiritual experience in and of itself, and like what's in you that's resisting it right now. Like that's something to look at. Like
Plot twist.
you got something to learn from everybody. So
Yeah,
you're
and
here.
who's to say what a spiritual experience is or is supposed to look like? Maybe it's me telling you to shut the fuck up and get on your feet and do the thing. Maybe that's a spiritual experience.
Yes.
But I respond to that. I'm like, yes, get it. Shut up. I'll shut up too. Like,
Yeah, there's just no bullshit.
because it's real. Exactly. It's real. And I think that in this realm that we're all sitting, the lack of authenticity is appalling. It's like, who are you? Who's your story? You know, like don't model your story off of, you know, like I have one friend who's like, sorry, I haven't been in contact. I just relapsed. And I'm like, really? Do you, like addiction is a self-diagnosed disease, but then come to find out with some, with probing and just some questions, it's like, what? Yeah, I was like, do you think you have a problem? No. I'm like, why are you she was like, well, it's just, it gets a reaction. I'm like, so okay. Yeah.
Wow.
That was enough. Yeah. It does get a reaction, and it's about to get a real reaction from me, motherfucker. Like,
I don't know why they just feel the need to embellish or change or create, or I don't know what it is. It's just like they don't feel like they're enough or their story's enough or whatever it is.
that's exactly what it is. I mean, addiction is the greatest gift. Coming out of it is the greatest teacher, but I wouldn't wish that hell on anybody.
No.
Well, this has been amazing. I mean, what would you like people to know about you or what you do, breath work, anything? I mean, it's been so transformational. The 1 session, the 1 hour session that Ryan and I took.
And I know, and it's completely derailed like all these other, because I still have a million questions. We're literally going to need to get you booked for a part 2.
Yeah, we got to do another one.
There's so much more I want to know. I'm dead serious. This has been like incredibly enlightening. Like I'm so grateful for it, and you in this.
Thank you so much for having me on. I guess I would just tell people to have an open mind and come try a class. I mean, that's just the easiest thing to do. The website is breathewithjp.com. And, you can get a discount on your first class, $10 off. So like we were talking about, it's $19. Come try a class, have an open mind, do the best that you can and see what's there for you. Like, what do you got to lose? Like, that's usually what I say. I'm not perfect by any means. And so I'm not your guru, but I might be the guy to like crack you open and introduce you to this thing that could change the course of your life. And then you decide what you want to do with it from there. Like the more you like, people are like, how often should I do this? I'm like, well, I have that on my website. Like it literally says, how often should I do this? And you could, if you do it more, you're going to transform your life more. Like how fast do you want to heal? How much do you want to transform your life? Like that's your answer right there. I did it every day for a year and it completely changed my fucking life. You don't have to do it that much. You can do it once a week. And, it's just up to you. It's up to you. I tell people like, come once a week for a while and see what's there for you. And then the breath work is going to inform your decisions, not me. The breath work is the thing. I'm not the thing. The breathing, the breath work is the thing. I'm just the guy that's pointing the direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that you said that you're like, I'm not, you should have different teachers, like pop around, like don't exclusively rely on me. I'm not your guru. Don't put me on a pedestal,
because I'm going to let you down. Like all my teachers have let me down and I'm going to fucking let you down in some way. Like, probably. And so don't put me on that pedestal because I don't want to be that, I'm sorry. I'm just human. I'm doing the best I can. And sometimes I fall short. Oftentimes I fall short. And so, I've gotten really good at doing this thing. I'm really good at taking people through breath work, and I'm really good at teaching other people how to teach breath work. And because I've worked really hard at like going, okay, like how do I make this class better? How do I make this training better? How do I make sure that these people leave here fully confident on how to do this and how to take other people through it? So I've worked really hard at that. So I know that those two things are really good. And I'm working really hard at being a good dad. And sometimes I fall short at that too, and being a good husband and like, but the training and the class, they're pretty fucking dialed in. Does that mean that I never say something stupid in a training? No, probably in 4 days, I'm going to say something fucking stupid for sure. I'm going to be like, I wish I hadn't said that. I don't know.
Well, this has been amazing. I can't wait to delve in further.
Dead serious. We're gonna no, like I'm calling it. We're gonna do a part 2. I literally want like anybody listening to seriously, like we always say this. Go check like links. All the resources are in the show notes. Go click the goddamn link.
This is
Go
gonna change
sign
your
up.
life. Yeah,
I guess
like,
because by the time part 2 rolls around, like I want us to like put out a call to like anybody listening who's actually done this. I want to like get like some stories, testimonials or something. I want Jon Paul to like see where we've come from number 1 to wherever that goes. I really want to ask some of these other questions. I got like, I think some dope questions here. And I'm going to spare everybody right now. I will spare. But your birth chart, homie, the entire time, I already had so many cool things I wanted to say just about like, oh, I see like the breathwork playing out here. And then just like getting to see you. So many things that you have said are just like so in your chart. I like am.
Is it because of all the nines, the 9/9/72, 9 and 9 a.m.? Like I had some girl that I was on a date with was like, "What's your birthday?" And I told her, and then she said, "What time you want?" That's all nines. You're so powerful. I'm like, "Am I getting laid tonight? Does that mean I'm getting laid?"
I'm not the biggest numerology person, so I don't know. I don't even like view the like date as much. It's more like
okay, so it's something else.
Like you're Virgo. You're a Virgo. Yeah. You got Mars on Virgo. You're in the 12th house. That's where generational healing is happening. Is the 12th house. Virgo is the healer. You got literally so many things here that I could talk to you about. Virgo rules the nervous system. There's the healing of that's happening here. I mean, there's so much going on in your chart that like.
What I love about Ryan too is he started learning about astrology to disprove it. He was like, I'm going to learn everything. So therefore I can discredit this. And then at the end, he was like, fuck. Now
I'm a skeptic by nature. Yeah. I still hate it. I honest to God still hate it. Like I mean, I love it, but like I hate it. But it's just cool. It's a cool reflection of who you are, I guess. Like for me, it was the most immediate. Like I'm not a big person who goes to therapy because like a lot of people will say like astrology is like 4 years of therapy in like one little session, right? But it's like it is the more psychological component. That to me, I haven't ever had that experience outside of astrology. Until breathwork. Breathwork, though, was the physical component. And I think it's interesting, Megan, when we were talking about the whole elemental conversation in our like somber submarines episode, where like I was noticing and had that revelation, I think, about like the jealousy thing and how that's an earth element and earth is physical, right? And I was like, this is the physical side of it that I needed the healing. That was my missing element, you know? So it's really cool to like, for me, just the past couple episodes here, things like just building. This has been wild. We're gonna do a part 2. Like we're gonna have to.
I'm down. Let's do it. Please. Megan, you made me think of Jack Alexander, who was like a 60 Minutes guy back a long time ago, who went into Alcoholics Anonymous to basically disprove it, to prove that these people were all charlatans and snake oil salesmen, and then discovered that it was actually pretty legitimate and it was helping. And he wrote an article about it that was like, that's what changed Alcoholics Anonymous, was that article.
Cool.
Yeah. It was the same thing. He was kind of like the guy who would like pull the wool off of all the snake oil salesmen and all the charlatans. And he said, no, this thing is actually really fucking helping people. And it's pretty amazing. And so that was a big game changer for AA.
And that's what I think you're also doing in this, like dead serious. Like, it's so easy to like search breathwork. I actually did that after the class. I literally just Googled breathwork. Like that was it. And to see what would come up. And I was like, oh my God, like I absolutely see why somebody would not want to engage with this whatsoever. I will only recommend you. I feel very grateful. Like it's why I also hate yoga. Like I've tried numerous teachers, but it is all very, it's just like, I've even tried like non-woo.
I hate this ancient science that's just like, been around.
Yeah. A teacher does matter. I think the not putting it on a pedestal thing also matters though. Virgo has this whole thing about being let down by mentors. I won't go further.
Oh, I need to know more about that. I always thought it was the shadow father. You either have the shadow father or the shadow mother. And so for me, it's the shadow father, where I would kind of replicate this person who's like my father, and then they repeat the same pattern that my father repeated to me, right? And then till you learn the lesson, and like that's what we do. It's either a mother or a father, and then we find that person who's doing that same thing to us, and then you go, oh, there it is. Like they let me down again, like.
Well, you're not wrong. Saturn is the father. Saturn is in your 9th house where mentors and role models live. Saturn is in a fight, a 90-degree angle. It's like battling your son, you.
Yeah.
So there's this definite like thing. And your son's in the 12th house of the generational stuff.
Well, at some point, you have to kind of kill off your teacher anyways to become the teacher, right? Like,
absolutely. That's Virgo's whole thing too. Like, dead serious. Yeah. It's like, when do I master it enough?
Yeah.
Virgo, it's a Karate Kid. It's like he didn't know how to whoop anybody's butt at the beginning. And then he meets a mentor, Mr. Miyagi, and through like weird, constant, repetitive motion, like you did breathwork every single day for a year.
Yeah.
How you live your days is how you live your years, right? And your life. He wax on, wax off, wax on, and now he's Karate Kid. It's like these little things that you can do that get you to that space. And then he could whoop Mr. Miyagi's butt if he wanted to,
Yeah. At some point, you outgrow your teachers. And that's the hero's journey too, right? You go and you pull the sword from the stone and you come back and then you share the knowledge and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So thank you so much for having me, you guys. It's been a blast.
Yeah, let's do it again. I say with it, let's do a year commitment, Ryan. Really come like to the table with some substantial stuff here.
Oh, yeah.
Well, maybe you guys need to come through the training, right? We come through the training and then we talk about that. That's a whole nother level.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm in it. Well, thank you so much. And guys, please, if you can't tell that we're fangirling and fanboying and out, like go take the class. It will change your life. And thank you so much for your time. We so appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Yeah. Awesome.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.